Hey, what's up guys? Back with another video. So in today's video, what I'm going to do, it's probably a little controversial. I know not a lot of people may not necessarily agree with this, but I'm going to make the case of why the Brooklyn Nets, based on the recent news that have happened with Kyrie Irving, they need to make a choice. Do they want to win a title or do they want to keep Kyrie Irving on their team? And my case is going to be that they need to move on from him. It's getting ridiculous at this point. So the recent news that came out with Kyrie Irving. So he missed the last couple of games. Originally, he said that it was for personal reasons, and he said that he didn't feel like playing. But what turns out actually happened, based on the news that came out today, is that he supposedly went to a birthday party that involved his family. He wasn't wearing a mask. So first of all, you just said a few days ago that you didn't feel like playing, but then now it's supposedly imposed upon you that you can't play because you broke the COVID protocol. So what's that about? You're not exactly being incredibly truthful there. And it continues a never-ending story of constant drama that happens with Kyrie Irving. Literally within the last calendar year, practically, well, not calendar year, but the last like 12 months, you could count numerous events that have happened. There was a whole thing about where he was saging the court, which I don't necessarily have a problem with that. But and that the time when he called out his teammates as saying like, oh yeah, we need such and such guys on our team to surround us with such and such people, and didn't name certain teammates, things to that effect. And I mean, you can defend him all you want, but the bottom line is that this guy has become a total distraction in the locker room, and it's clearly affecting teams in the Brooklyn Nets. And you look at his track record of the Boston Celtics and how they fared both with him in the locker room and how things improved after he left. And then you look at his entire time in Cleveland, other than when LeBron James was there, and how that went for him. And this guy just simply, especially over the last couple of years, has proven that he's more of a distraction than somebody who's actually going to help you contribute to you winning a title. And even for the Brooklyn Nets, you can make the case of that because their record at times has been better when Kyrie Irving is not on the court. And at some point, what level? I know that he's a guy that's going to put up a lot of points. He's going to give you a lot of stats. But at what point are you going to consider those as empty stats and not something that you can fill with somebody else who could be more productive and create better chemistry and less distraction around your team? So my prediction is that basically, the Nets are never going to win a title with Kyrie Irving on their team. It's gotten to the point where I feel that the way Russell Westbrook is viewed now, of how this guy will never win a championship, that's what I think that we should be starting to see with Kyrie Irving, because it's become ridiculous, and the Nets have so many stories that surround them. It causes so much chemistry issues. I can't even imagine like how that is managed at the team level. They seem to be on the surface dealing all right with it, but that stuff matters when it comes deep playoff runs. We kind of saw how that developed with the Clippers last offseason, with a lot of stuff that happened behind the scenes and star treatment. So as a Washington football team fan, I was thinking about this. So at what point do we distinguish what Kyrie Irving's behavior was like versus what Dwayne Haskins' behavior was like? So Haskins first of all, Haskins is performed by far worse than anything that Kyrie Irving has ever done. And Haskins was a total distraction to the team, especially at the especially come playoff time. When he went out with his girlfriend's party or whatever that thing was, he put his team that was late season, potentially putting his team at risk for the playoffs. So this is a different context with Kyrie Irving. However, the justification for it, you look at Dwayne Haskins, he was a guy that was heavily scrutinized by his play and his passion for the game. So a decision to do that kind of confirmed for a lot of people that this guy is not 100% serious about a sport. So why can't we look at this through the same lens with Kyrie Irving, somebody who has been highly scrutinized over the last year and a half about his passion for the game, whether or not he's really committed to his teammates, really committed to winning based on the things that have happened. And then we find out that for all we know, this was a conscious decision that he chose to do. And unlike Dwayne Haskins, we do not have any sort of apology for this from Kyrie Irving. So to me, it just confirms that this guy is not committed to winning. He does these things because he's concerned about himself and he's concerned about attention. And I know that it's a little bit harsh, but that's at least the way I see it, is that this guy has become a total impediment to this team. So what do the Nets do from here? I know that they're in a very tough situation because him and Kevin Durant supposedly have a great friendship. And Kevin Durant, by the way, has got his own issues in terms of creating distractions, but he's not anywhere near on the level of Kyrie Irving. We really haven't heard anything very much controversial from Kevin Durant throughout the entire season this year. But the Nets really need to take a hard look of whether or not this situation is going to be sustainable to help them become a dynasty. And there's a couple trades out there. I'm not saying that these are trades that will happen or could happen, but these are just some ideas that I've thought of. So obviously, that's something that's circled around because it's already kind of been a discussion, is Harden going to the Nets. What if you just traded Harden for Kyrie? And I think that would be a very interesting trade, but I don't necessarily see that happening. But however, that could potentially be the most realistic option. Other things that kind of made me think about just for as potential trade options, just for devil's advocate purposes. What if the Toronto Raptors, the way they've started their season, have determined that they need to try to get whatever value they can out of Kyle Lowry, and you create some kind of package that involves Kyle Lowry and some other players for Kyrie Irving? Would this be something that would be beneficial to the Nets? And in some level, I think it could. I don't think. I mean, you get it's. I don't know if this is. I don't think this is necessarily a great solution, but the way I view it is that Kyle Lowry would be more valuable as a leader to this team, which is something that they don't really seem to have somebody that really stands out as a true leader. So would that be something that could potentially make the Nets better than they are? It's interesting to think about. And then the last thing I want to think about that I kind of brought up earlier is that what if you traded, I'm not saying this would ever happen, but what if there was a trade involving Russell Westbrook and Kyrie Irving? Would that benefit the Nets more than the situation they currently have? I know that there's been issues with Kevin Durant and Westbrook in the past, supposedly, so I don't ever see a situation like that happening. But is it worth it to the Nets to deal with the headache that Kyrie Irving is versus somebody in Russell Westbrook who, despite the stuff that's said about him and the flaws that he has never really been questioned for his passion for the game, his work ethic, and his contribution to the team? So I'm going to close with that. But basically my general overview of the situation is that if the Nets are really serious about winning a title, they need to strongly consider finding a way to get Kyrie Irving off this team. So if you're interested in videos like these, please let me know in the comments. I'm interested in hearing what you have to say. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a good night. Bye.